As momentum gathers for comprehensive immigration reform here in Washington, lawmakers are turning their attention to the border with Mexico. 4 senators actually watched as a woman climbed the border fence in Arizona last week. And today, another key lawmaker has been visiting the border in Texas. And Senator James Inhofe is joining us. He's the Republican from Oklahoma. Senator, I know you're right on the border now between Texas and Mexico. You've been studying border security in advance of comprehensive immigration reform. One of your Republican colleagues in the House, Steve King, says the U.S. should just build what he describes as a Great Wall of China along the U.S.-Mexico border. Do you think that's necessary?
No, it's not necessary. And there are places where fences actually work. A lot of places they don't work. Now, they've had tremendous success in the Arizona border, some 260 miles, I think it is, with fences. Some places they don't work as well. Where I am now, it's closer to the Gulf. And down here, they have fences at about half the distance. That isn't the solution to the problem. Anytime there is a demand to get over the United States, a lot of it would be for benefits, a lot of it for food stamps and all the other things we have to offer. Until that is corrected, I don't think we're ultimately going to be able to resolve the problem. I know there's a gang of 8, some 4 Democrats and 4 Republicans. My concern there is what they're doing on this. They call it the path to legal immigration, the path to citizenship. And, I've been privileged, Wolf, to talk to maybe more of the naturalization ceremonies than anybody else has. And I look at these people who came over the legal way, the hard way, and I can tell you now that my heart bleeds every time I hear people talking about an easier way for illegals to become citizens.
Well, listen to Lindsey Graham. He's a Republican from South Carolina, one of the members of the so-called Gang of 8. He was on CNN's State of the Union yesterday. Listen to this, Senator.
I believe it will pass the House because it secures our borders. It controls who gets a job. As to the 11 million, they'll have a pathway to citizenship, but it will be earned, it will be long, and it will be hard, and I think it is fair.
So if these 4 Republicans on this Gang of 8, including Lindsey Graham and John McCain, Marco Rubio, Senator Flake from Arizona, if they're on board, would that be good enough for you?
Well, not necessarily, no. First of all, there are so many unknown things right now. When they talk about a path to citizenship, they don't have any of the details. We now know that Pat Leahy wants it to go through his committee. It's going to have all these amendments. And so I would almost say to my good friends, the Republicans and Democrats, they don't know enough right now in terms of what they've put together. There are too many things, too many changes that can take place. There is no specific path to legal entry. There's no specific path to citizenship, and there's not any of the answers in terms of the border. So it's a work in progress. That's I would state that.
If you don't like it, will you filibuster?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't filibuster. This is not an issue. I'm into as much as they are. I just know that I am concerned about the citizenship. I'm concerned about what's happening with those who've done it the legal way. And I want to hear the answers to where they're going to be fences, where they're going to be detentions, what type of equipment. I'm the ranking member on armed services. I need to know what of our equipment is going to be necessary on any ultimate solution to the immigration problem. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think that they have the specific answers. And for those who say that they do, they haven't gone through Pat Leahy's committee yet.
Speaking of filibuster, let's move on to guns, a new gun control legislation that might be out there. You've indicated with a few other Republican senators you will filibuster new legislation, but here's the key question. If that legislation only includes expanded background checks, doesn't deal with the magazines, doesn't deal with the assault-type weapons, would you still filibuster that?
Well, I can only speak for myself, Wolf, and the answer is yes. Now, you might not have noticed, but at 5 o'clock in the morning last Friday, my amendment, the last amendment to the budget bill, it actually passed. We got 53 votes. We now know in the Senate that we have 53 votes to stop any kind of effort for gun control. And also that affected the UN treaty on gun exchanges. And I think you're familiar with that. So it did two things. It was pretty strong, saying that we're not going to accept gun control in the United States Senate. We have 53 senators who say that right now. And as far as background checks are concerned, just look at it logically. Anyone can get back. You can get a weapon from someone who has a clean background, offer them $100 to get a weapon for you. And there's one fallacy that I see in every type of gun control, and that is there's this assumption that the criminal element somehow will obey that particular law. And we know that is not going to be the case. I haven't seen one yet that'll work, and yes, I'd be willing to filibuster.
A lot of your fellow Republicans, though, they look at the polls out there. There was a CBS News poll that came out the other day, asked if you favor background checks on all potential gun buyers. 90% of the American public, according to the CBS News poll, said they favor it. 8% oppose it. You're in the 8%. That's a small minority.
No. I do not believe I'm in the 8%. I can assure you I'm not in the 8%, certainly in Oklahoma. When they ask the question, do you want a background check? Sure, everybody can say yes. They don't stop and realize that the criminal element is going to be able to get guns anyway. If you were to ask the question, now the criminal element can get guns in spite of a background check, are you still for a background check? How would they answer that, Wolf? I think they'd answer it maybe 90% the other way.
But wouldn't it make it more difficult if all gun transactions required a background check? Because right now there are these huge loopholes. If you buy it at a gun show or if you buy it privately, any criminal could go out there and buy it.
Wolf, I disagree with that. I think they can buy it anyway. The criminal element can have access to guns, and the law-abiding citizens, they're going to comply with the law. And so, I just don't believe that you can have a background check that's going to have a material diminishing effect on the availability of handguns or any other type of guns.
All right, a big battle coming up over, I was saying a big battle coming up over immigration reform and guns. I know you're going to be at the heart and right in the center of both of these battles once you get back to Washington. Senator Inhofe, safe travels back here to the nation's capital.
Thank you, Wolf.